There's a strange moment in almost every modern relationship where something shifts, silently. At first, being always available feels like the right thing to do. You reply fast. You show up instantly. You never miss a call, never leave a message unread. And for a while, it works. She seems closer, more engaged. But then something changes. She starts replying slower. The energy dips. The respect subtly fades. And you're left confused because you didn't do anything wrong. You actually did everything right. Here's the uncomfortable truth most men never hear. When you never pull back, you don't increase attraction. You erase it. Why does being too available slowly kill respect in a woman's mind, even if she initially liked your attention? Let's go deeper than surface dating advice, because the psychology behind this is not what most people think.
In this video, you're going to understand the real psychological mechanics behind availability, attraction, and respect in modern dating dynamics. We're going to break down why constant presence can actually trigger emotional devaluation, and why strategic distance often creates stronger emotional pull. This isn't about playing games or pretending to be busy. It's about understanding how human psychology actually works when it comes to desire, value perception, and emotional respect. We'll look at concepts from behavioral psychology, attachment theory, and reward systems in the brain, specifically how uncertainty and boundaries shape attraction over time. By the end of this, you'll see why some men become forgettable despite doing everything for a woman, while others stay in her mind even when they do less. And more importantly, you'll understand how to correct this pattern without becoming distant or cold. Think about a man who replies within seconds, every single time. Morning, night, work, gym, he's always there. At first, it feels comforting to her, safe, predictable. But over time, something shifts in perception. Not consciously, but psychologically. In behavioral psychology, reward systems are shaped by scarcity and unpredictability. When something is always available, the brain stops assigning it high value. It becomes baseline. This is the same reason certain experiences lose emotional intensity when they become routine. When you are constantly available, you unintentionally signal, "I have nothing better to do than respond instantly." And that creates an unconscious downgrade in perceived value. Practical shift here is not disappearing. It's pacing yourself, responding with intention instead of reflex, letting life exist outside the conversation. Because attraction doesn't grow in constant access. It grows in selective attention. And when attention becomes selective, it becomes meaningful again. Now here's where it gets more interesting, because availability isn't just about timing, it's about emotional space. There's a pattern in early attraction that most men misread. A woman might be deeply engaged one day, then slightly distant the next, and the common reaction is to close the gap. Text more, check in more, try to restore the earlier energy. But psychologically, this often has the opposite effect. Attachment theory helps explain this. People with different attachment styles experience distance differently. For many, a small amount of space actually increases emotional awareness. It allows feelings to develop outside of stimulation. But when there is zero space, no pause, no absence, the emotional system never has time to reach for you. Desire is not just about presence, it's about anticipation. So when you are always available, you remove anticipation from the equation. And without anticipation, emotional buildup weakens. Practical application is simple. Don't rush to fill every silence. Let conversations breathe. Let moments pause. Because what breathes, grows. What is constantly filled, stagnates. And this is where respect begins to connect with availability in a deeper way. Here's a scenario. A man cancels his plans every time she needs him. He rearranges his schedule constantly. He says yes, even when he's tired, busy, or overwhelmed. At first, she appreciates it. But slowly, something changes in how she perceives him. Not because she is bad or ungrateful, but because psychology is consistent across humans. In reactance theory, when a person has no boundaries, there is no resistance to measure value against. Boundaries create structure. Structure creates respect. When you never say, "I can't right now," you unintentionally communicate that your time is negotiable at all times. And negotiable time is rarely respected deeply. Now here's the key misunderstanding. Boundaries are not rejection. They are self-definition. A man with boundaries is not less loving, he is clearer about his own life. And clarity creates respect because it signals internal stability. And here's the transition most men miss. Because once boundaries are missing, predictability takes over, and predictability has its own hidden cost. Let me ask you something that might challenge everything you think you know about attraction. Have you ever noticed that the moment someone becomes completely predictable, emotionally, socially, even digitally, something inside you starts to shift? Not dislike, not rejection, just reduced interest. That's not personality, that's neuroscience. The brain is wired to respond more strongly to uncertainty than certainty. And this is where most men accidentally kill attraction without realizing it. In the beginning of attraction, there is curiosity. You don't fully know where you stand. You don't fully know what's coming next. That uncertainty creates dopamine spikes in the brain, not from pleasure, but from anticipation. But when everything becomes predictable, same response time, same availability, same emotional access, the brain stops predicting reward. And when prediction disappears, dopamine activity drops. That emotional spark starts fading. This doesn't mean you should act erratic or inconsistent. It means you should avoid becoming emotionally transparent in a way that removes all tension. Healthy attraction requires a balance of connection and space, familiarity and mystery. Practical takeaway: keep parts of your life non-negotiable, your goals, your routines, your personal space. When she sees that you are not entirely absorbed into the interaction, you become more than just a source of attention. You become a person with direction. And direction is attractive in a way availability can never replace. But there is one more layer that ties everything together. And it's the one most emotionally important. This is where things get personal. A man starts off being available because he cares. He wants to show effort. He wants to be consistent. But slowly, something changes internally. He starts ignoring his own needs to maintain access. He responds even when exhausted. He sacrifices his time, sleep, focus, just to stay present. And over time, something subtle happens. Resentment builds internally while attraction weakens externally. Because self-determination theory in psychology shows that humans need autonomy to maintain emotional balance. When you constantly override your own needs, you don't just lose attraction from others, you lose respect for yourself. And that internal shift is often what women pick up on first, not consciously, but emotionally. When a man values himself, he naturally creates balance. He doesn't disappear, but he doesn't abandon himself either. And paradoxically, that is when his presence becomes more powerful. Because it is no longer dependent, it is chosen. And chosen presence carries weight that constant availability never will. At the deepest level, this isn't really about texting, replying, or timing. It's about how you relate to your own life. When a man believes that being constantly available will make him loved, he slowly starts trading pieces of himself for attention. A little time here, a little boundary there, a little self-respect each day. And at first it feels like connection, but eventually, it becomes invisibility inside the relationship. Because real attraction doesn't grow from access. It grows from presence that has weight behind it, a life that continues whether someone is watching or not. And here's the truth most men eventually realize too late. You are not respected more because you give more access. You are respected more when your access feels meaningful, not rare for manipulation, not distant for control, but grounded in a life that does not collapse around attention. When you stand fully in your own direction, you stop chasing connection and start attracting it naturally. And that changes everything. If this resonated with you, it probably means you've seen at least part of this pattern in your own life, or someone close to you. And here's a question worth thinking about. Where in your life are you giving access too freely, without realizing the cost it's creating internally? Because awareness is where change begins. In the next video, we'll go deeper into something closely related. Why emotional distance sometimes feels like rejection, but is actually the beginning stage of genuine attraction when handled correctly. Until then, remember this. You don't become more valuable by being more available. You become more valuable by being more grounded in your own life.